Hi guys, it is Niina and you're watching Fairy Chamber channel. I've been doing lots of research about symbolism behind different horoscopes, so I thought I would share some of my research with you. And I thought I will start with Virgo. There's several different deities in Greek mythology that you can connect to Virgo, but there's three particular Virgos that I have chosen for this video as an example. And these are recognized to be some of the inspirations for the whole Virgo horoscope. The most famous Virgo, no doubt, is Persephone, and we all know the story of Persephone. Persephone was the goddess of spring. Her original first name was Kore, and then later on she becomes Persephone after the journey to the underworld. So Kore in Greek mythology was not necessarily a virgin, but somewhat a young woman, a woman coming into adulthood. That was Kore, and Persephone was first Kore, the spring goddess, and her mother was Demeter, the goddess of the earth. So Demeter, Kore and Persephone, you can see them as one and the same. In a way, Demeter and Kore, they are two faces of the same goddess. Kore is the spring goddess, the young woman, the woman reaching the adulthood. Then we have Demeter, the dying earth, the mother earth, woman in her full womanhood. And then we have Persephone, the renewal, the rebirth. Because the word Kore in Greek directly translated means the maiden, and Demeter directly translated means the Mother Earth or the Earth Mother. Persephone, on the other hand, her name literally means the destroyer of light. This might surprise some people when we are so used to think Persephone as the goddess of the spring, but Kore is that form of her that is the goddess of the spring. Then Persephone is the form of her that is the goddess of the underworld, and the one that lights the darkness in the underworld. She is the one that brings the darkness to the earth because she is in the underworld, because Persephone is the one who brings the spring and the summer with her every time when she is on earth, and when she is in the underworld it is winter and autumn in the world, and her mother is missing her and all the crops will die. The story of Persephone and Demeter, it is both renewal, rebirth story in natural cycle, but it's also the rebirth story of the woman, because she goes into the underworld as a Kore, and every time when she comes back to the earth she is now Persephone. So it is some sort of an adulthood rite. So we have the goddess of spring, Kore, who becomes Persephone, the dead goddess. So the whole story of Persephone is a quest of humanity, and it is about mystery of nature, not just nature around us but also the human nature. I think this is very vital aspect to understand when we want to get deep into the symbolism of the Virgo concept of the Greek Zodiac Virgo. It is quite gender based, but obviously you can find that also no matter what your gender is. There's always a rebirth, possibility of the rebirth in every person. Another possible inspiration for the Virgo comes from the Greek poet Hesiod, who was the first one to write down some of the most famous Greek myths and some of the most famous Greek stories that we now still use today to understand the worldview of ancient Greece. In the 8th century BC, Hesiod wrote about Dike, the goddess of justice, and Dike was the daughter of Zeus, and she was the goddess of justice and goddess of righteousness. So in Greek mythology there's the 5 times of people, and the first time was the golden people, and Dike, she existed already during the time of the golden people, and she told people to do the right thing and be righteous. And Dike, she was hurt by some man, so that's why she started to give advices to people how to behave and how not to behave. So she was a punisher in that sense. And then there came the silver people, and Dike, she still continued to punish people, and she became more and more harsh. The people of the golden age, they in a way lived in a paradise and they didn't really have the mind of their own. Then becomes the time when people are made from bronze. And this is time when decay has enough. She can't stand anymore the hard fight battles that people do and the way they harm each other. So she leaves to the skies and doesn't never come back. And she plots this seed into people's hearts that they only become more and more vengeful. And according to Greek mythology, we now live the 5th period where people are made from iron. In that between has been people being heroic, and I think people who were heroic, they weren't made of some kind of metal, some kind of heroic essence. Anyway, now we are living the time period of iron, where we are made of iron, maybe, and Hesiod himself described to be part of the Iron Age himself as well. And the Iron Age is the time when people are the most cruel as they can be and destroy the world, which is quite accurate. Very interesting, this whole idea of decay being the inspiration for the Virgo. Maybe it's one of the inspiration, because obviously if you are a Virgo, you know that Virgos can be very critical, very self-critical. I also think Virgos are quite peaceful, and Virgos like to rethink things and always like to make lots of different choices and ponder what is the best choice. And yeah, this all comes from personal experience because I'm a Virgo, but obviously there are some things that people say that Virgos do that I don't do. Like people say that Virgos are very neat and tidy. I live in an artistic chaos. But then I was talking with another Virgo friend that it's really, it's not really that bad when you remember where you put your things. So I guess we are very organized in our head, not all necessarily always in our living environment. What do you think, all the Virgos? Is it so? I don't know. But I think this whole story of decay in that whole justice punish her sense, it can be quite accurate. Then there is the last story, and this is very, very sad one, but you know, Greek people, they invented tragedy altogether. The story really starts from the god of wine, Dionysus, creating wine, and somehow Dionysus arrived into the village of Icaria, into Attica, and there was this peasant man called Icarius, and he had a daughter called Erigone. Dionysus, he decided to bless Icarius, so for some reason he just liked him, and Icarius, one day from his floor started to grow grapevines, and all the goats, they started to milk wine. So that's how Dionysus brought wine to the earth, according to one legend. And Icarius, he got drunk with wine, he became a wine man, and he started to travel around Attica and different parts of Greece, selling his wine and sharing the happiness of wine. And it didn't last very long, because when he arrived to Athens, if I remember right, there were people who took some of his wine, and people had never drank wine before, so they didn't know what it was going to do for them, so people started to pass out. And then these friends of those people who had passed out, they actually thought that Icarius had poisoned them, so they decided to murder Icarius. And they killed him with axes and swords and stones, and they threw his body into a pond. Erigone got very worried where father is, and Erigone had a dog called Myra, a very loyal dog. That kind of dog that can find people and objects. So Erigone, all she had to do was to follow Myra, and Myra led her to the body of her father. And Erigone, she got so mad, and she made an oath that all the people who killed his father, all the Athenians, they will be cursed. And if this curse does not hit them, this curse will hit their daughters. All the murderers, all the Athenians will die, and all their daughters will perish. And then after she made this curse, she hanged herself into a tree, and the loyal dog Myra starved himself into death. And what happened is that all over Athens, all the young girls started to kill themselves, so there was the epidemic of suicides. And people got really panicked when this happened, and some people went to meet the Oracle of Delphi to release the spirit of Erigone. They should start a festival to celebrate her, and this was the beginning of festival called Ayora that was celebrated in ancient Athens. What does the story of Erigone tells us about the Virgo? First of all, it tells about loyalty to the father and loyalty of the dog, and then the unleashed wrath of the being hurt. So in that sense, Erigone, she is also a punisher goddess, same way as Decay is. The story, it also includes the dog star near the constellation of the Maiden. The dog star is the loyal dog Myra, and there's lots of stars connected to the whole constellation of the Maiden, like Spica. The most important star in the whole constellation of the Maiden is the bright star of Spica, and Spica is the ear of the corn that the Maiden is holding in her hands. Animals that are connected to the whole idea of Virgo and the symbolism of Virgo are dogs, cats and bears. In Greek mythology, all the constellations that are close to each other, they also tend to be connected in the mythologies. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to subscribe to my channel if you already haven't, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.